fans, and welcome to another exciting edition of Cammy's Comic Corner. I'm your host, as always, Cammy. This episode of Cammy's Comic Corner has been brought to you by the SQUEEG. Created by David Leto, issues 1 and 2 are available now at kablam.com and indieplanet.com, and be sure to pre-order issues 3 and 4 coming up soon. And also be sure to friend the SQUEEG comic on Facebook while you're at it. Now on to the episode. Why am I excited? I am excited because I have a pick of the week this week. The dry spell is over. I wish I could say the same thing about my dating situation right now. So, without further ado, I bring you the pick of the week from Marvel. We have Heroes for Hire number 8, written by Dan Abnett and Andy Lanning, and art by Brad Walker. Now, I've been enjoying the past couple of issues. Well, the whole run in its entirety so far has been great. You're trying to find this Atlantean drug hook, someone supplying it, the heroes are slowly picking off the bad guys and finding who the head of the food chain is, and then you get a situation where Spider-Man is dropped into a warehouse, into a pit match versus Scorpion on one side, and then Velociraptors from the Savage Land on the other. But what? Even his spider senses couldn't figure that. Oh wait, he doesn't have them. That's why. So now we have the whole room of crowded investors just hooting and hollering, loving the fight brought before them, and Batroc the Leaper is trying to explain to this mysterious benefactor or employer, like, hey, no, this is good because then they get to see a little bit more of what the drug can do, and what the effects are, and then we get to kill a hero in the meantime. So everyone wins. Well, while this is going on, Paladin is hooked up with Satana. Well, he would like to, but they've teamed up. And she's doing a spell that's going to reverse the Demonica weapon. And anyone carrying said weapon isn't going to be able to use it because they're going to be sucked down into hell. So while they're trying to keep this from happening, Misty Knight has also joined the fray. So now we have all these people in this one location kicking some serious ass. I mean, Spider-Man's just, he's always used to these kind of situations, but not so much there. Like Misty, she's never been out of the office, and they thought she was still weak from her battle with Puppet Master. And then Paladin, he's enjoying the view of lack of clothing on Satana. I mean, don't we all? But he's still suffering from a cracked rib a little bit. But the police have been called, Batroc's been taken into custody, Scorpion unfortunately gets away, and we still don't know who the employer is yet, but they're slowly inching towards it, and that's what makes it really, really good. The storytelling is great. The art by Brad Walker, oh my god, all these characters are just so wonderful to look at. I mean, the guy's really doing a great job on art. It really helps add that extra oomph to this story. Good, good stuff. Now, on to the Fast Five. Next up from DC, we have Secret Six number 34. Now, we have Scandal having two redheads on her hands now. She just finished rescuing Bombshell from hell, and now she's going after Leanna, who was taken by this holier-than-thou guy who's all like, yeah, sinners, all of you, so I'm going to kill you because you're a sinner. He doesn't really get the irony that he's killing in the name of God, for God, and anyway. So the Secret Six take care of him, but now everyone has had kind of a tough past couple of days. I mean, well, some of them, like Catman, he's loving it because now he knows, every time he goes to sleep, he knows his dad's down in hell getting torn apart by his mother every single night. And it brings him immense pleasure. But the person who doesn't have pleasure in their life is Bane, because he's always Mr. Serious. So Scandal kind of commands him to go have fun, go take this Spencer woman out on a date. So they go to the circus, and he's having a hard time adjusting. I mean, he tells Spencer all she wants to know. Spencer's just amazed that he doesn't even know how to eat a caramel apple. There was tons of fun little moments at the carnival. And then he ends up at the end of the night defending her honor from a couple of carnies who saw that he was flashing them green, and they wanted a piece of it. So it was a very entertaining issue. This arc is now officially over with, and now we're going to get on to some weirder stuff apparently, but Simone's just killing it on humor, well, with the humor as usual, and then Jay Calafori on art is just always a pleasure to look at. Next up from Dark Horse, we have Hellboy, The Fury, number 1. So this is kind of the epic event in the Hellboy universe at the moment. I mean, so epic that you get not only one, but two glorious covers, one by Francesco Francavilla. Always a fan. Call me Francesco. Anyway, so we have Hellboy versus the Queen of Witches, Nimu, and she's kind of having this transformation done to her by this old witch, but it's not really going in her favor. She was expecting something a little bit more, less grotesque and hideous. Well, now it's Hellboy who has given one of his eyes to Baba Yaga just to find out the location of Nimu, and he makes it there, but now he has to go against her hordes just to get to her. And so he's just, swinging around like a madman, and he gets a hold of a nice gigantic axe that we see on the cover there, chucks it at Mimu, and it only, dings her helmet off. And now he's in her grasp. But meanwhile, back at the little pub where he abandoned his sweetheart, Alice, she gets a little backstory about the pub's history and the one founder of it, and how he was just waiting for something. And now that the sword Excalibur is back, he has risen to this, Arthur-type level, and he commands the undead army who have become whole again. So it's very interesting, but let me tell you, Duncan Fegredo's art on this is the main reason you should be picking up this story. It is just gorgeous. It has smacks of Mignola, and then smacks of just epicness and awesomeness. And I mean, that's what Hellboy should be about, and that's what they're making it with this series, The Fury. So I can't wait to see what's going to happen in issues 2 and 3, but as long as we have more Duncan's art, it is to die for, really. Next up from DC, we have Batman Knights of Vengeance #1. Now, this is the Flashpoint Batman, where it's Thomas Wayne, owner of Wayne's Casinos. And the thing about his casinos is he gets the crime to come to him, and then he funds the controlling of the different crime families, which is pretty smart. But then he's always hassled with, oh, you gotta have a psychiatric appointment, or Oswald, the Penguin, working for him, saying, oh, well, we should be keeping an eye on these guys. And meanwhile, Jim Gordon is head of the Gotham security because the whole city's been privatized by this one security firm, and he's trying to find Harvey Dent's missing twin girls. Well, missing twins. They've been kidnapped by the Joker, and now he's going after every possible lead imaginable, which takes him down to the sewers, a nice little fisticuffs with the Killer Croc, and then we learn something very important about this Batman. He has no problem killing, and he takes Croc's machete to his head, and that's the end of Killer Croc. I mean, the guy was torturing people, but still, it's oh, whoa, Batman doesn't do that, right? The creative team on this book is we have Brian Azzarello, Eduardo Riso, and Dave Johnson. Do those three names ring any bells? This was the creative team of 100 Bullets. So to see them all reunited on this title, it even adds that much more awesomeness, because it's a very good first issue. I mean, this is only a miniseries, but still, very good first issue. If Flashpoint were to eventually take over the DC Universe and this was going to be an ongoing thing, I could live with this Thomas Wayne. It's a very different interpretation of Batman, and, that's what makes it special. Next up from Vertigo, we have Sweet Tooth #22. Now we have Jeopard and Gus finally arriving to the dam, and they get to meet Walter for the first time. Jeopard doesn't take too kindly to Walter, doesn't trust him. I mean, in this wilderness, you shouldn't trust anyone, but Lucy keeps trying to say, listen. No, he's one of us, he's a good guy. Walter tries to explain, no, everyone can stay here. And Jeopard's, we need to bring the others, and then, wait, well, what others? And then we are reminded that there's another group back at camp, and they get confronted by Haggerty's men, according to Walter. And according to Walter, we must kill these guys on sight. And so when Jeopard and the rest finally get back to him, they take out all of Haggerty's men. But the thing about Haggerty's men, sorry about the quotations, is they have the Project Evergreen patch on their uniform. So they know something about the dam. Something's awry. If they're no longer in the dam, and Walter's in the dam, and Walter's telling tall tales about some guy named Haggerty who's in charge of the woods, something's not right. But dead men tell no tales, so we have to have our little party of wanderers figure this out for themselves. Before they want to head up to Alaska, they decide, let's go back to the dam. So very intriguing stuff. I can't wait to see what's coming up in this series. And then Jeff Lemire, the man can do no wrong. I mean, he's taken this book by the balls, and he's run with it. Running with balls. Jeff Lemire, you heard it here first. And finally this week from DC, we have Flashpoint #2. Now yes, 2 events did come out this week. Fear Itself #3 and Flashpoint #2. Well, Fear Itself #3 was enjoyable, and I now have a better understanding of what's going on. Flashpoint #2 really got me hooked, because, again, first issue, wasn't quite sure. I knew a lot of stuff was different. There's Amazonian warriors and Aqua people fighting against each other, and the whole world is, in this battleground. But we get a lot more explained of this universe. We actually see a killer Aquaman. Literally, he doesn't take any mercy. And then we have Wonder Woman taking slight mercy, we don't know, on this one downed pilot. What's his name? Trevor something? Yeah. Well, apparently Trevor's working with Lois Lane. And Lois Lane is having some sort of underground resistance happening. And the Queen Amazon isn't really looking forward to that. Meanwhile, back at the Batcave, we have Barry Allen trying to explain to Thomas Wayne, Batman, hey, look, it's Batman again, that, no, really, I'm the Flash, you gotta believe me, man, look, I can prove it. And when the ring pops out, it's Reverse Flash's uniform. So he's like, he must be fucking with me, and this is actually my world. Oh my god! And then he remembers all of a sudden, and then he wants to recreate the experiment that made him the Flash in the first place. And it was funny because I was reading this and I was like, wouldn't it be funny if he just like burned alive? Well, he did. The explosion actually didn't cause him to turn to the Flash, but a charred husk of a corpse instead. So it makes kind of sense that the special lightning wouldn't strike in the same place twice. And he supposedly ends his life trying to find this out. I'm sure he's not dead. I'm sure it's just a flesh wound and he's not pining for the fjords. Hey, 2 Monty Python references in one. But it's still really, really intriguing nonetheless. And I'm looking forward to this event more and more as the issues go on. Well, comic book fans, that does it this week for Camy's Comic Corner. If you want more Camy's Comic Corner goodness, head on over to www.camyscomiccorner.com. From there, every Wednesday you get Geeky Talkie. Every Sunday you get the review show. Every Friday, Camy's favorite covers. Beginning of the month, the book of the month. At the end of the month, the top shelf selection. All of them are located at camyscomiccorner.com. And be sure to follow us on Twitter at CamComicCorner. Us being me, because I have split personalities. No, we don't. Shut up, you. Once again, this episode of Camy's Comic Corner has been brought to you by The SQUEEG by David Leto. Issues 1 and 2 are available now, and if you go to Kablam.com or IndiePlanet.com, you can pre-order issues 3 and 4 right this moment. So you get all 4 issues at 2 great websites, and if you want to know more about The SQUEEG, about how this awesome kick-ass superhero with a magical squeegee came about, check out my very early review back in 2009 during Indie Comics Episode Volume 1. I reviewed that issue, and turns out I liked it. Also, you can friend them on Facebook as well. So that does it this week for Camy's Comic Corner. You must excuse me, because now I need to go get ready for September, because a huge relaunch is happening, and 52 #1 issues are coming out from DC, and I really need to get that, Captain Cammy issue in, or go to bat for Lobster Johnson. I keep trying to tell him that it's Dark Horse DC. To him, he doesn't care. He just gives the finger and he says, get me that book, damn it. So until next time, this has been Camy's Comic Corner. I have been your host, Cammy. I am tired from talking so fast.